Welcome back to part 3 of our tutorial. So, the big question becomes, how do I start each triangle? Well, starting is actually quite easy as long as you know the correct questions to ask yourself. So the first question you're going to ask yourself is, do I have two angles in the triangle? If the answer is yes, we're going to use alpha plus beta plus gamma equals 180 degrees to get the third angle. We use alpha plus beta plus gamma is equal to 180 degrees to get the third angle. If the answer is no, then you're going to move on into step 2. Step 2 says, do I have a corresponding pair? That's one of those pairs of sides and angles that are directly across from each other in the triangle. If the answer to that is yes, you can use the law of sines. Now, depending on what other information is given to you in the problem, you could potentially be getting another angle, or you could potentially be getting another side. When we start doing a couple of examples together, we'll talk about the different cases there. And then step 3 of the process, if the answer was no up here, that means that you still have 3 pieces of information, either 2 sides and an angle, or 3 sides, or whatever the case may be. If the answer is no to number 2, then you're going to use the law of cosines to get another piece of information. Now, regardless of whether you're using the law of sines or the law of cosines, oh boy, okay, dyslexic moment there. Use the law of cosines to get another piece of information. As soon as you use the law of cosines, you are guaranteed to have a corresponding angle-side pair, which means that after you use the law of cosines, you can go back to question number 2 and use the law of sines to grab another piece of information. Generally, at that point, you'll have at least 2 angles, and you can use the sum of the angles as 180 degrees to get the third angle. So, let's talk about our special cases again one more time. In the cases of angle-side-angle, or angle-angle-side, you can use solution number 1. In order to have angle-side-angle, you have to have 2 angles. In order to have angle-angle-side, you have to have 2 angles. So you can use that to get the third angle. Regardless, at that point, you are going to have a corresponding angle-side pair, and you can use the law of sines. So we'll say then, use law of sines to get the other 2 sides. Alright, so for the cases, cases of side, 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 or side, angle, side, in these 2 cases you do not have a corresponding angle-side pair. You'll have to go straight to the law of cosines. You'll be using number 3. Then, you can reuse the law of cosines to get another angle. Then use 1. Now, I have a lot of questions about that because if we have a corresponding angle-side pair after we use the law of cosines, why wouldn't we just go straight to the law of sines? Well, that's because the law of cosines, when you're calculating the angle is going to be unique. There's only one possibility. It might be acute, it might be obtuse. Using the law of sines, though, the law of sines is only going to give you the acute angle, so we try to avoid that if we can. Except for the case that is completely unavoidable. The one that is completely unavoidable is the one that is a gigantic pain in the side-side angle. What? Oh, that was inappropriate. Sorry about that. It is the case of side-side angle. You don't have 2 angles, but you do have a corresponding pair. So unfortunately, you're going to have to use 2, and then check to see how many triangles are possible. And the algebra and the trigonometry that goes into that will tell you that you'll either have 0 or 1 or 2 triangles possible. That'll probably be the last case that we cover. So I hope you enjoyed your little mini lecture on the beginnings of how to solve triangles.